Hello, hello, hello. Hooligan Soccer podcast coming at you on this Monday morning with a Champions League knockout second leg special with myself, Gary Striker, and as always, a very, very copy drowning, busy, overworked Qooligan by the sounds of it.
It's
Happy Monday morning.
What the hell do you expect, people? Come on now.
It's Monday.
It's
Got things
Monday.
to do.
The world is still turning. Yay. The Olympics are over. Yay. Everybody's content. And we had a ring-tailed lemur win gold. Figure skating. No, got to give props out to Alyssa Yu, Oakland's own, ladies and gentlemen, local gal. She did great
for you.
We love it.
It was fantastic. Yeah.
One of the best poster children for saying no to sport to recover your joy. And so I got to say, I may do this to you one day, Gary. I may say no to you, but that's only to recover joy.
We recover joy.
Personal.
It's so interesting you say that, because I felt exactly the same. You could just see in that performance, and I know clearly this is a Champions League podcast and we're talking about women's figure skating in Italy, but but no, it really was. You could just see the sort of the weight there wasn't any weight. She was just completely free to sort of express herself. Oh, what a magical performance and experience!
You compared her performance to right Mannion. Right, the American skater who was so pumped up, so much pressure, night and day, and day. And so, I'd say for anybody who's out there competing at a high level, pay attention to that. Pay attention to that, because that's there's something to be said.
Certainly true. It certainly is true. Well, speaking about playing with freedom and pressure, let's get into this game week's fixtures for the Champions League.
I'm not sure there's going to be very many teams playing with freedom, except one very big. There's going to be one team that's going to be playing with a lot of freedom.
We're going to get into that one, yes. But as always, hooligan-soccer.com is where you can go and find more about the writings, the insights. We have there's a really good Pythagoras in Boots, has a really good sort of analytical breakdown of some of the Champions League games coming up, which are looking good. There's some transfer stuff. And then of course we've got all the MLS season picking up as well, which we'll be also speaking about a little bit later on. So
can't believe you're not talking about the plethora of Chelsea content that we have coming through, because there's a lot of people writing about Chelsea lately.
There are.
So if you're a Chelsea fan, get in there.
Get in there as well. Yeah, just be careful. The Qooligan
if you're
is
a Chelsea hater,
it.
you can get in there too, because not all of it is complimentary.
Yeah, it is indeed.
We can serve both sides of the Chelsea aisle on that one.
Both sides of the coin as well. That's it. Yeah, we definitely need to go into that. Okay, all right, let's get into these games. They're going to start on Tuesday, kicking off. There's the early fixture on Tuesday, Atletico hosting Club Brugge. This one, I mean, this was I do want to start off by saying, for all of this sort of like whole section of fixtures in the Champions League, you were very, very sort of unenthusiastic about it and saying these are going to be nothing.
Still harping on that? Yeah, I already ate my words in the last podcast, and do I have to do it again? I mean, fine. If I need if you need to assuage your, if you just want to take me down a couple of pegs, that's fine. I was absolutely poo-pooing the whole concept. 100%.
I'm trying to be a supportive co-host and teeing you up here to knock one out of the park, Qooligan. So if you let me finish my sentence, you'll get it.
That's not what you were doing, but I appreciate that's what you think you were doing. No, this was the fixture surprised me with their quality, their urgency, and yes, with their upsets and with teams that I didn't think were going to brought it. Good. That's what we expect from a Champions League set of ties. The big question now, though, remains, because this was also something I raised, is I'm not sure these teams can necessarily do this over two legs, right? Obviously, on any given day scenario, any team could beat any team theoretically. That's just sport. It's much more challenging to do it and sustain that over a two-leg period of time. And then, of course, there's the old adage in the soccer world, which is they say the toughest thing to do is to beat the same team twice, right? If you play back to back, it's really hard to win twice. So that said, will teams walk into these stadiums with sufficient leads to say, good, we can afford to lose, but still win the overall, tie? Or will we see some collapses or something else? I don't know. That's what's going to make this week so fascinating.
It is, yeah.
Now, what's this leadoff game that we've got, which is Atletico versus Brugge, they're already on aggregate. So this is it. Basically, you're back to any given day scenario. And certainly that game that was played on Wednesday, the 18th, what a fixture that was.
That was 3-3 banger, absolute banger, wasn't it? Yeah, that was a very, very good game.
And Atletico, even though they managed to come back and tie it, I mean, they were outplayed. Brugge owned the possession, right? They owned, they owned the shots. They owned shots on frame. They pretty much owned every statistic except saves. And I mean, if it wasn't for Madrid's keeper, they were going to go down. I mean, Brugge put 10 shots on frame, and their keeper made 7 saves. That's world-class performance right there, man.
That is, that is very true.
So,
7 saves. Look at that. Really good. Yeah.
So now the question, can Brugge do that
Metropolitano.
At the Metropolitano?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I would normally say no, except that, let's be honest, Atletico hasn't been imperfect. That's not a fortress for them anymore. I mean, Bodo went in and spanked them.
I don't think it's more positive. We'll get to Bodo as well. I mean, the way they've been spanking everyone, Man City and Inter as well.
Well, sure. But why not? So why not Brugge? Brugge's got a solid squad. Their squad is no less talented with no less of a pedigree than Bodo. It's just, I think sometimes it comes down to mentality, and they've shown that they have it. But can they do it? I mean, we'll just have to wait and see. That's what makes this game is great, because it's really a coin toss.
Yeah.
This is one where you have to wait and see. There is no real inkling. There's no real background statistics or anything that makes me say that Brugge is going in there, and will win. Just as there's nothing that's telling me that Atletico is going to go in there and they will win. Whereas if you had asked me a year ago, I'd have been like, oh yeah, hell, Atletico is going to mop the floor with them. I wouldn't say that now.
I agree with it. Yeah, I agree. And so it does feel, especially with the aggregates being the same, this is a final. This is a final, right? Just to advance now to then get to the actual sort of round of 16 of the Champions League. Brugge have never got this deep before, I think, in the sort of modern form of the Champions League as well. So again, all they have to do is put a good 90 minutes, defend for their lives, and score a couple of counter-attacking goals, and they're through. And it's quite possible. It is quite possible.
Or maybe try to do the same thing, which is just dominate the possession and just keep hammering and put the pressure on, because that's what it worked for them. If it worked for them in Belgium, why wouldn't it work for them in Spain?
Yeah,
there's no, I mean, other than the fact that the crowd is larger and louder and against you, that's the only variable. The pitch is still the same. The dimensions are still the same, roughly.
Play with some freedom would be our advice, right? I suppose. Play with some freedom. Yes.
Sure.
There we go.
Find the joy, Brugge. Find the joy.
Okay. You've got Leverkusen hosting Olympiakos. They pretty much did the business in Greece when they went over there, winning 2-0 as well. This is probably the safest of fixtures, I would say, out of all of them, except for maybe Karabakh Newcastle. But I just don't
Karabakh
see...
Newcastle is more... that's a slam dunk.
Yeah.
This one is a likely to, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is one of those occasions where I will invert what I just said about Atletico and Brugge and say, well, Bayern's going home. So for them, this is their opportunity now to show the home fans, bunker down, and get the job done. This is about execution now. Not about flair, not about putting on a show. This is about getting the job done. And if they can do that, and I think they can, Olympiakos is going to have a very difficult time in breaking them down. They did well against Olympiakos in a stadium that's not always the easiest to play in. And they did it with fewer shots, but with more efficiency, right? Olympiakos was taking shots to the cows came home, but they only put 1 on frame. right? And that was saved. Whereas Bayer put in 60, over 60% of their shots were on frame. So yeah, keep it ruthless, keep it efficient, get the job done, move on.
Move on. Okay. No, it's fair. That's fair. Good statistical research, by the way. Qooligan as well. Very impressed. Very good. This for me is the game of Tuesday. Inter hosting Bodo.
Yeah.
3-1. I mean, it's that all that is. If something happens once, it will probably never happen again. If it happens a second time, it will definitely happen a third, right? And this seems to be the case with Bodo, where at first you thought when they got that first result against who was it against? Man City was the first. Man City was the first sort of shock result, and then the second result was, and then they beat
Atletico Madrid.
Like beat Atletico as well. That was also a shock. And then Inter. I mean, that. So this is they, as you say, and I think you summed it up really well last time, which was the way in which they play in Bodo play. They play as a unit, they play as a cohesive team, and they always seem to do that extra pass, which just sort of guarantees that sort of ability to have a real scoring chance on goal. The question here is now, as you say, with a 3-1 down, Inter have not been in this situation all season, right? They're running away with Serie A. When I say running away, they're top of Serie A. They are the strongest team in Italy right now. Historically, they defend very, very well. They're going to need to come out and attack and score 2 goals efficiently and at the same time and not open themselves up to a counterattack. This is going to be such a good tactical game to watch.
Will they be able to do it? That is the question. I mean, they looked a little lost. They looked lost against Bodo. They were flustered. Maybe it was the weather. Maybe it was the pitch. There were a lot of factors in it. But I do think also that Bodo is just very good at taking teams out of their comfort zone, right? They are a club that you can look at, you can watch the tape, you can study the statistics, you can do all of that. And yet until you get in front of them, you're not really sure what's going to happen. And Bodo seemed to have a tremendous ability to just disrupt another team's flow. And as you said, they've done it 3 times in a row now. I read somewhere people were saying, why are folks surprised that Bodo is doing this? They've done it 3 times in a row. This is not a fluke. And if you look back on the first 6 games of their Champions League fixtures, those 2 of those games they lost literally in stoppage time. With one was an own goal, and the other one was like some fluke. They are better than I think people think they are. With a 2-goal lead, the big question for me is, does the Bodo coach change anything, or does he say, no, boys, you do the exact same thing, you play the exact same way? Absorb, do not get down if you concede, just make sure, because for them, it's about getting away. Now, I know there's no away goals rule here, right? So away goals don't count more. But they get a goal against Inter in their house. That is going to fluster them so much more. Bodo's like, give up a goal? Fine, no problem. Get up, brush yourself off, go on to the next thing. They're not going to worry about that. But especially if they score early against Inter, it's just going to make them more desperate.
It will be. But even if Inter score 2 and then Bodo get 1 and they get a 2-1 result as well, that's I think the objective would be just go and score a goal.
That's all it takes.
Just go and score 1 goal. Score 1 goal in there.
That's right. That's right.
That's it. Yeah.
And I do think that they are they're in the best position they could be, honestly. There is no better spot, given that they have to play that second game. Well, ideally, everybody at Inter would get some kind of dysentery and they'd have to forfeit the game, but we know that that's not going to happen.
Yeah. Okay. And then the other game of the Tuesday, which is pretty much the sort of open case, really.
There is no truth to the rumor that Klæbo is going to suit up for Bodo Glimt and start.
No
I'm
truth.
just kidding. I'm making shit up. No, it's not really. But you heard it here first, kids. I wouldn't be surprised if Klæbo gets put on the roster as an honorary captain, goes out, plays the first 2 minutes, and then gets subbed off. Why not? He's already beaten the shit out of Milan, got 6 gold medals. Why not take the Milan beating to another level?
Take it back to Italy.
That's what I'm saying.
Norwegians back in Italy, of course. That's the line, really, isn't it? Yeah. And then Newcastle Karabag 6-1. This is pretty much open and shut.
Sorry, is this even a game?
Yeah, exactly. Is it?
No offense to Karabag, but I mean, honestly,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
okay, so
Newcastle could put their grandmothers out there and they'd still
they
win.
are going to. That is exactly what Eddie Howe is going to do. He's going to wheel his grandmother out there as well, and he's going to basically put her in goal. And that's exactly what he's going to do. Yeah. Okay, so that's I think Newcastle will probably get there, but it will be. I think the shock of the day on Tuesday will be if Bodo pull it off against Inter, which is not impossible.
It will still be a shock. It shouldn't be, but it will be. Yeah, I agree with you.
Knockout last season's finalists, and by sort of little Bodo or Buda as my guy Nico Cantor was articulating and educating us on that.
He was there, and they were correcting him. So I'm going to give Nico some credit on
that. Okay, let's move and then into Wednesday's games. We've got Atalanta against Dortmund. This was 2-0 Dortmund, going back to Atalanta. This is the kind of game, though, I could see being turned around. I could see Atalanta turning around. Both teams are doing quite well in their respective leagues. Italy, the Italians at home, Atalanta have been overperforming. They really have. So I think I think 2-0 Atalanta, and it goes to extra time and penalties, because we're also going to get some penalties in this cohort. That's what my gut tells me.
Yeah. Again, these are two teams whose home form versus away form can be extraordinarily relevant, right? Borussia is a very loud, obnoxious, yellow place to play, right? I mean, they could they're the template by which the Bodo fans who also wear yellow aspire to. They just don't have the numbers. I mean, there are more people inside the Borussia Dortmund stadium than in the entire
Bodo,
municipality of Bodo, and I think that might even be the province. So, I agree with you. Atalanta could swing this one around. And Borussia, their history has indicated they're not the most effective and ruthless team, nor the most consistent team. They have the ability to implode tremendously. So, sure.
Yeah.
This is a great 50-50 call here.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
That would be an interesting one, yeah. Okay, and then I think for me, the second most mouth-watering and juicy fixture of the Wednesday, well, actually, no, there's a couple, but that Juve-Galatasaray game, I did not see Galatasaray turning Juventus over 5-2. That was
even the most diehard Galatasaray fan could not have seen that.
Couldn't have called it. Yeah. Oh, they must have been absolute dreamland, right? Absolute dreamland. Yeah, they really, really were. And then what's also sort of concerning as well is there was a red card as well. Who was it who got sent off for? There was a red card for Juventus as well, Cabal as well, and I think he's their left back. And apparently, what I was reading as well is that they have there's a real left back issue as well. So they're really down to don't have any recognized left backs. Juventus going on here. So I think Juventus are in trouble here. They are in trouble. I don't know if they're going to be able to, again, they need to put 4 past Galatasaray to even win and not concede, or get 3 and then go to penalties in extra time. And it feels like their squad's a little bit sort of short at the moment.
Not with this squad. No. Yeah. The Juve of old, maybe. And that's not to say anything about, Cope Miners, who's a perfectly fine striker. And that second goal that he hit was, or maybe the first one, one of those was an absolute thing of beauty. I mean, it was, just stunning. But who else are they going to get, right? I mean, McKennie's more of an assist man than a goal scorer, right? So he's going to be able to feed in and build up on that front. Thuram, he's fine. Yildiz is great potential, but has been underperforming lately, right? So
particularly what do you do?
There is no focal point for Juventus. There is no true striker. There is no Martinez. There is no, like Lautaro Martinez for Inter or anybody, right? Yeah. And so I don't think a 3-goal deficit can be overcome. Now, there's a big caveat there. Galatasaray could shoot themselves in the foot. They could be overly aggressive. They could get early red cards. There's a lot that they can do to sabotage themselves.
Yes.
The question is whether or not that will happen. It is almost less an occasion of can Juventus win and more of an occasion of can Galatasaray screw up? Really, in my question, they're just different sides of the coin. But I'd say that Galatasaray has enough pedigree, has enough talent, and hopefully has enough discipline and restraint to be able to just say, hey, and not get flustered if Juve puts 1 or 2 up early. Stay calm. Give the ball to Osimhen. Let him do his thing.
Play with freedom.
That's good. You got it, right? Let him go. Yeah.
No, that's I agree.
And you know that Osimhen's going to be he wants goals.
Of course,
he was upset because he's like, I'm giving all these assists and I'm not getting any love. Give me some goals. So he wants it. Oh yeah, totally. And he wants to do it in Italy.
Yeah, of course. Know
he wants. It might not be against Napoli where he'd be really motivated, but at least he still wants to do it in Italy.
Still against Juventus to show them, that he still got it for sure.
Totally.
Okay, and then wrapping up the final 2 games of the Wednesday as well, you've got PSG Monaco. Now, I know you were saying you hated this game. This was actually really good.
I did hate this game.
Monaco got 2 surprise goals, and then PSG kind of just sort of clicked into gear and just sort of, basically turned them over and sort of did it. And then there was the red card that came from Golovin as well.
That's the crux. It was that red card. Without that red card, they might have stood a chance. I'm still giving credit to PSG for turning it around because they could have folded. But they didn't. And that red card helped tremendously. Yes. Again, this is a case of a club that sabotaged itself. They tripped over their own laces here, right? And just mucked it up. That sucks. I don't think the inverse. I don't think they have a chance in the inverse. I think PSG at home is just too strong.
Yeah,
they've already got the psychological edge, and they've got the 1-goal edge, and so they're going to be calm. They're going to be restrained. Luis Enrique is going to keep the team he's going to keep those guys so rigid and so tightly controlled and focused mentally. No, I don't think there's much of a chance there.
I have to say, I was really impressed with Desiree Doué. I know he came on because Dembele got injured. I think he had a hamstring came on. And he looks so good. Incredible. So good. I know we keep talking about France's attack as well, but I mean, if he's also sort of, he's not a guaranteed starter, which is just scary to sort of think how good France's attack is. But he looks fantastic with those 2 goals.
I think he's making, and he catches a lot of flack from the PSG fans who are always like, oh, you're not doing this, you're not doing that, you're not developing, blah, blah, blah. Well, I think he shut up a couple of people on this one because his performance was just, like you said, it was tremendous. It showed great maturity, incredible passion, and such skill, such incredible skill. And the ease with which he did it was amazing. Yeah.
It's wonderful, wasn't it? Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Okay. And then going back to probably saving, I'm not going to say the best for last, but certainly saving what has the potential to be an absolute explosive game as well. This is going to be this again. I think the theme here seems to have been everyone just keep your goddamn heads. And I think the same thing for Real Madrid here as well, because this could easily be one of those things where Real Madrid can let themselves get antagonized by the Benfica players. Mourinho with that dark streak that he has in him will be antagonizing his players, saying, go and poke Vinny in the eye, go and antagonize them, go and get them to react to you. And I don't know if we know if this, I saw some articles, I don't know what's true or not, but this piece of shit Prestiani, I don't know if he sort of starts or if he plays or if not, but that will be an intense environment that he'll find himself if he does. I'm not sure if he got suspended.
Yeah, I don't think I have not heard or seen anything about him. I would not be surprised if they're sort of holding everything until after the fixture is over. One, they really don't want to fuel a Real Madrid backlash in the media, which, as we all know, they're capable of doing.
Yeah. Oh, they are.
And it's already a bad enough look for Benfica that they're just like, we just want to desperately get out of here without any further issues. I will say this, if Prestiani puts his shirt over his mouth again, there's going to be an absolute explosion.
God.
I would not be surprised if Real Madrid has a specific camera that's just tracking. No, I'm not kidding, because this is their stadium. They can do whatever they want, right? There's UEFA broadcasters, but they can put their own camera guy in there. And I would not be surprised if they've got their own camera guy and a shotgun mic sitting on him the entire game. They're literally going to try and listen to everything that he says.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if he's learned his lesson or not, which I'm sure he's probably sort of, hopefully you'd expect him to be.
I'm sure he's been warned.
Well, it'd been warned, but you'd probably expect him to have, like, just the media attention, the scrutiny, and all the bullshit that's come around with the noise and because of his actions. Yeah, I think that was probably part of that. Is like, okay, maybe I don't want to do that again, right?
I'm going to say this, and I'm not casting any assuasions or any blame on Vinny, but he has to keep his head too.
Yeah,
he has sometimes in the past let these moments get away from him. He cannot afford to do that right now. He showed good restraint in that game. He handled everything appropriately. He did, within his own outrage, he was able to find and center himself and go back and continue to play the game. Let's just hope that happens. Like you say, let's hope the cool heads prevail and this doesn't become another talking point, flashpoint for more discussions about an issue that, by the way, which is very important and still needs to be investigated fully, and we still need to find out exactly what happened on that. Right. But about the game itself, Benfica shouldn't win. They shouldn't. Yeah. They're not nearly as good. They're not nearly as good as Real Madrid. Everybody knows it. Mourinho knows it.
And this is why he's playing this dark arts game as well, just to try and distract the
again, I certainly don't want to think that Mourinho had anything to do with what Prestiani said.
No, I don't think that, but
I will say that Mourinho needs to own the gaslighting that he said afterwards, because that was abhorrent. It was absolutely and utterly inexcusable of him to say any of the things that he needed to say. That's
classic Mourinho. He creates this siege mentality. They're all against us. They're all coming for us, and he uses it an internal motivator to try and get the best out of his players. And there's also a question of, did he actually do that to distract against the focus from being on Prestiani? Maybe he did. I don't know. I can't say. He is a deep thinker, and he does plan a couple of moves in advance. So, we'll see what goes on. And he's going back to his old haunt, his old club, where obviously, he's not sort of looked up too fondly there as well.
He's been at like 58 clubs. I mean, there's hardly anywhere you can go in Europe where he hasn't been there before, and probably been kicked out of there. So, I mean, it's like, not that much of a surprise.
Yeah. There we go. Wonderful. All right. Well, Qooligan, that brings us there. We will then obviously find out who is then going to be playing who goes into the brackets, and then who plays in terms of
we know that there are two choices for every winner of every fixture.
Yeah,
facing down the line, but to talk about it is pure speculative nonsense.
Yeah,
so
it's confusing.
Let's wait until see what happens. Right? I think they do the draw on Thursday, if I'm not mistaken.
There's an actual draw. It's not just going to be decided on seedings or anything like that.
No, it's not decided on seeding. Because in order to prevent people from gaming the system, right? I believe that it's every time they move on to the next level, there's a choice of two potentials. And so the winner of one of these ties goes into a pot with the two, and they find out who they're going to play.
Yeah.
That's how it goes. But the higher ranked team obviously gets to host. Because I think also you know what? I'm not sure if these are single elimination after this point, or if it's still the double.
No, I think they do two legs around the 16. They still do
double.
2 legs.
Okay, yeah, because I do know that the semifinals is single. That's a single match.
Seriously, that's a new.
I'm pretty sure. I don't think a single. Okay. I don't think I'd have to go back and double check, but I don't think they.
That strikes me. I don't know. We'll double check that one, because just TV revenue. Like, they can make more money from double game, from two-sided fixtures, and instead of the run-up. So
no, I get that that you think revenue caps all, but there are still playing caps in effect for the players union. So
we'll go and check that one out. We'll go and check that one and verify. But in the meantime, Qooligan, I think that brings us up on time. Okay, exciting games. Obviously, Golazo show next tomorrow, and it will be exciting to obviously see the CBS stuff back in action as well. Until then, Qooligan. Until next time. Thank you.
Peace.